All right, so let's start our another town hall. So, Evan, you want to start with some points or go through questions?
Well, first of all, I put it in announcements already, but our development forums have opened up. Um, you should be able to see them. There's a topic for all of the Pick Up 5 items. We also made a Q&A topic. Those are should be ready to be used. And I expect the forms to go up later this week, the forms to post in there. And we would slowly transition towards that with a lot of development stuff. At least communication about it should be possible in there.
Yeah, in general, we want to be more open, but at the same time, maintain some hidden stuff from everyone.
It also tells people, for example, what the current Big Five is. Like a lot of people didn't know. Well, now we've got a list of them.
Yeah, one of those big fives is the armor updates. And as of right now, I am in development phase of the armor update. I am making armor, well, more configurable, that you can basically have armor that protects you from bone breaks and internal bleedings and decapitations and limb loss. And basically, the armor will dictate the chance of you losing a limb or taking a bone break or getting the internal bleeding or getting your organs damaged. And it will be using the same system, the same armor system. And yes, as Sora said, that as I see it right now, and I still have to confirm it with other devs because I'm working on this, and then other devs have to confirm if they like it or not. The idea is that the light armor is the most protective from the acid and radiation if we ever have it again. The heavy armor is more protective against the bleeding, bone break, and bullets and melee damage. And the medium armor will be the utility armor, which will gain additional slots inside the armor. And some specialist armor will be reworked too. Squad leader armor will be basically the best of all three worlds. The effectiveness against acid of light armor, the protection against melee damage of heavy armor, and additional pockets inside. And do not ask questions in town hall text. Please ask them in private messages. And please, no less salty. All right.
Solid Pure One Wet was the first person who pinged me with a question. Did he already ask it in here? Was it talked about?
No, go ahead.
2 seconds?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, I need to send him a message.
Oh. I can grab some other questions for now.
Sure, if you've got one first.
So when will allow majors gonna get sorted out? Hopefully. I'll be honest with you, recently we had a lot of interesting bugs appear just because the master controller got fixed from very hilarious oversight bug. And you probably seen, some of you at least, that server started working a bit more smoothly with more population, which is great news. I think, at least when I asked, people mostly answered that yes, it's working faster. But also it created a lot of issues underlying, and yeah, and it made some things unstable. Like dropships are not being caused by this, but they might be close. All right, you got your question?
I do have more questions. Hold on, I got feedback. The next question that I have was related to brain mat. If we're getting brain mat, as far as I know, no. We are changing how medicine works, but that was more towards the HUD stuff that you saw. I do not know if there's more stuff that is coming. Maybe Nev can elaborate on that. But brain mat was not something that I at least heard about.
So we are thinking about some special secret medications that are basically a researcher thing. 10 positive meds, 20 negative meds, 20 meds that are plus or minus, so depending on the situation, and 10 intermediate meds. And everything, every single gem of this group will have a random or semi-random way of basically making it. So you might have something that always takes aspirin and 3 or 4 different gems to get, and you can never be sure. And even developers can be sure by going into view variables, but as a player you can never be sure that you know the receipt for the chemical, but you can understand that you got it because we are not going to change the names of the chemicals from round to round. So if you got, like, I don't know, isosulfan, it will be same drug from round to round, but you'll be just getting it differently. And one of those champs will be like the old quick clot, and the old how it's called, the one that fixes organ damage. So yeah, some of them will be fun. Yeah, Peridoxon. God damn it, Jake. No, you don't want panties. Shut up. All right. Question from you, Evan.
Yeah, let me get them. Yeah, I got this question, but I do not know how public this information is. But the question is, I see that multiple of the mentors are suddenly trial mods without making applications. Is there suddenly a way for them to do this?
I'm pretty certain that information is public already.
I know.
Yeah, it's not really a dev question, is it?
It's not a dev question.
True.
Like,
Let's keep on topic.
just skip it.
Okay. And another question about the PowerNet. We already went into the PowerNet issue. The question is, what is causing the PowerNet issue? The short answer that we already gave is that we do not know exactly, because it's hard to reproduce. We are busy working on it. And the second one is a question about client-side crashes, why those have suddenly appeared. I think that Nev has already covered that as well. Did you, Nev?
Yeah, it's basically the latest version having issues with the garbage collection on the client side, which is basically a short way of saying deleting the sprites on the screen that is no longer shown. Yeah, and from what I've seen, usually it happens when you zoom out or zoom in on places where you have a lot of decals like blood and other stuff. And we cannot do anything with that besides sending reports to Lumox and hoping he'll fix it for next release. That's what we get for sitting on the beta branch. But rest assured, we are trying to do something. All right, so let me grab another question. Will the Sapper kit get any more updates than it already had? Maybe a pamphlet on how to use.
We just gave you a third barrel, man. What?
Yeah. I'd say the 3-barrel shotgun is pretty updatey as it goes.
But the idea of letting them use C4 does sound pretty good. Honestly, not many people carry C4 on the fields as is currently.
That's true.
It's worth considering. It's a good idea.
All right. Anyone?
Do you need to have me give the next question?
Yeah, go ahead.
The next question that I have received is, I heard that battlefield executions were changed and that they are now suddenly able to be survived because of the way executions work. I do not fully understand the question that they mean. Do they mean that we changed the?
They mean that it doesn't decap.
It was changed from being a decapitation to a giant hole in the head, but as far as anyone needs to be concerned, you're still made unrevivable. It's a graphical change.
Yeah, your brain dead. It doesn't pull your
something like
head.
Deals a lot of brute, enough to prevent you from ever being revived.
I'll mention last night, even with a BE, someone survived and was.
Oh, seriously? That's great.
Mhm.
Oh, that's nice.
Shouldn't have tried to execute God.
Yeah, it's a SEER report you may want to check out if you want to talk to them about it, I guess. But yeah.
All right. Let me grab another question.
I'm gonna say something. Our mapper just indicated that he's leaving soon-ish. So if you've got any mapping questions, it's better to send them now so we discuss them further.
I, to be honest, cannot find any mapper questions as of right now. Okay, apparently we're getting one. All right, let me get some other question. Oh, can we get some juicy tidbits on some event maps or something else? Keiki?
Yeah. We have more than 2 maps in the works. That's all I'm gonna say.
That's not the answer to the question, Keiki.
Okay, ask again.
What are you planning for the events on the maps? Like the inserts or something, I don't know, crash ships.
I think that answered the question well enough.
I think they mean more towards Nightmare inserts, because I've got a question about Project Nightmare Creator as well. So if anything is being done with that.
We have some people working on Nightmare inserts currently with Big Red, as far as I'm aware, yes.
And I got asked specifically, even though I think this question should have been sent to Nev, why Nightmare Creator in Prison still isn't active.
Because it's shit. The inserts are not very fun to play with. That's why we disabled it. It had some issues, and also prison was pretty crashing thing. And first thoughts were obviously on it being polluted by nightmare inserts, which actually was kinda true. We found another limitation in how Dreammaker works. You cannot have more than 65,000 unique tiles, and you cannot have them. So you can have some tile named numbered 1, 3, 5, and then you can have an empty space up to 65,000. And if you have something like this and Nightmare tries to insert something new with new tiles, it can break them up. So I had to update it a lot. But due to constant crashes, we disabled it, and crashes persisted, so yeah. And it's not very good. It was made by me, and 1 or 2 inserts were made by Spooky. And my inserts, well, I'll be honest, they're not very quality based, let's say. All right, next question. Go ahead.
I've got a mapping question. A lot of maps have a huge area that is never being played in. This is bad map design. Will anything be done to change this? Between brackets, the north of the LV caves, most of ice, Prison and Big Red have this issue less, but Trident Dam also has this issue a lot.
I think, okay, let Kiki answer first. I'll weigh in.
Okay, so first of all, we have some work for ice in the pipeline that should be coming pretty soon to the public. With regards to other changes, as far as I'm aware, the other mappers have been looking at these issues. But if you believe you can give some feedback regarding certain areas that you think should be changed, we've got the GitLab for that and would appreciate any comments that way.
And from my point of view, it might, if this area is not used 9 out of 10 rounds, it doesn't mean that it's useless. It means that it's a place from where you can play for some more risky strats. Ice in general is completely different because it's 2 levels stitched together, which creates a lot of issues with the positioning. So I don't know about that one.
Oh, they added a comment saying, well, especially LV got expanded half a year ago with an additional North Cave section, and it's never being played in at all.
Yeah, the North Cave. Yeah,
and the last thing they added is, can you maybe move the Queen spawn back?
I was trying to think something funny with that LV position, basically make third LZ that Marines can sometimes drop on and have a permafog until, I don't know, an hour mark. But yes, sometimes you have the last end in North Caves that I also made as a test for Nightmare Creator and its capabilities, which I'm not proud of because it's not very thought out, but it's fun sometimes, I think.
The next question I have relating to mapping, could we get a more detailed area map of planets, especially with the caves mapped out?
No.
You can go into it a bit, why, Keiki? I can also go into it a bit.
Basically, the answer is we want Marines to be lost. and wander off alone and die.
And not just that. Not just that. It's also because in the end, the caves are intended to be the alien place, and to have the caves not be visible on the map means that it's quite hard to orientate in the darkness as a marine, to know where you are and such. And that's why the decision was made to not have them be on the map.
Yeah, and in general, when we're gonna have randomized caves, the non-random cave, the random caves that are in your map will make it a bit not as fun, let's say it that way.
A follow-up on the question from someone else: could there be a way to map the caves inside the round?
That's a bit processor intensive, but yeah, maybe after I finish everything on my queue, I can get someone to do that, if no one is against it.
Yeah, I'm out of mapping questions, and I'm out of questions entirely now.
Okay, so
So long, and thanks for all this fish.
Cheers, Keiki. Thank you. All right, I have, let's say, 15 questions. Hooray. Let's go. So first question I have in my list is, are the specialists or smart gunners armors having a similar rework, or were they already worked? I know Smart Gunner got an update recently, but I don't remember if specialists were changed other than the Grenadier. So I'll weigh in. Every specialist armor was changed. It wasn't changed well, because the proper Marine update is coming, but it was changed. Every single armor was changed because the entire armor system was rewritten. And as for the Smart Gunner actually got the least amount of updates armor-wise as of right now. And I think we can, if anyone has something to say about Smart Gun rework, wink wink.
I'm still working on it. I've gotten all the icons that I still needed. There's some last issues that still need to be fixed. There's some weird stuff going on with some of the more complicated parts of the smart gun. And one of the features I might have to drop because of this is automatic target.
Well, we can resolve that for sure. So also, I think the current state of Smart Gun, where Smart Gun basically dislodges the armor on Xenos by smartly hitting them, that might be enabled, disabled too, I think. But yeah. Right. You have any more questions?
I had one if there was plans to give the squad leader access to the tactical maps. I already answered it in PMs. The tactical map gives quite a bit of lag, so I'm not really a fan of it because of that. And until that's fixed, it's not really going to go in. And it's also laggy. It uses overlays, but it's still laggy with multiple versions. If there's only one version, it's still laggy.
Yeah, I'd say the priority for us is not the tactical map for squad leader, it's the drone map for squad leader that properly displays the map updated with Nightmare inserts, which was the reason why we weren't changing anything in game that much with Nightmare. All right. Next question. Any plans to adjust how requisition works for squad leader? I ask because doing squad leader is a lot of aggressiveness for squad leader and often causes me to miss the briefing when I am squad leader. You want to say something about this before I go?
No.
All right, so as plan goes, we're gonna give more and more access to some people for the squad leader requisition. Maybe even give squad leader ability to assign a player, someone from the squad, to do all the requisition vending for them. So yeah, but it's future. Okay, can you PM the fire team suggestion? Because yeah, well, we're gonna get back to that later. Evan, you have any questions?
Yeah, the first one is the fact that girders are being used defensively the way they are an intended feature, and if so, is that one that will be removed? I refer to them blocking boiler shots but not seeming to care about gunfire. Yeah, girders are on the list of stuff that are being abused, and they're also on the list of stuff that is likely to be changed in how it works. Because
so, as girders say, they are pretty much not a good thing right now. We are not punishing people for like not knowing stuff, and also devs cannot do anything about this. We're not moderation stuff, but in general, it will be fixed some way. Probably it won't do anything. Just it won't block any bullets, or it will block every bullet. I'll see. All right, another question. So, any plans to enable squad channels on squad officer or executive officer headsets by default? I don't know. You know any answer, Aaron?
I was replying in a PM, so I wasn't paying attention for a second.
Should we enable squad officer or executive officer channels for teams on the headset by default? I'd say no.
What do you mean with teams?
It's like when you start, you have every single channel muted, like Alpha, Bravo, Charlie, Delta, and you have to take off your headset and enable something. I'd say no, we're not gonna enable them by default, because as a squad officer, you don't want to hear every single channel from the start. And when I was playing executive officer, I'd usually disable the squad channels and just talk with my squad officers. But that's just me, and generally people think I'm that executive officer.
Yeah, in general, I do agree with what was said here, and I do not think that this is a quality of life thing, and those are at least low on my list of priorities. I want to get a lot of the bugs that suddenly appeared this week gone.
All right, you have any more questions?
Yeah. Are there any plans to change how orders work, like making each squad leader can have orders for their own squad active indefinitely as long as they are within view? We did agree as a dev team that we want to rework how orders work, but there isn't anything solid, and I also do not know if anyone is actively working on it. But we did agree that we want to change how it works, just not in the details.
Yeah, it's way ahead, and it's not a priority for now. Right now, orders are really strong, especially on the commander or executive officer, but people are so rarely use them, so that it's negligent. It's jokingly called the marine pheromones. All right. So next question from my side. Is there anything planned for boiler HEFA strain? All right. It's not how it's called. As it seems to just decimate everything it comes up against over the gas stream. Do we have someone to answer this question, like Forcan?
It's not my strain. I just nerfed it.
Oh, okay. Bless you.
I literally all I've done with it is I went in and changed like the damage constants to the lowest possible value. So, like, I'm not gonna feel it.
I'd say if I did this, I just make it so it takes time before it explodes into shrapnel, which is Xeno-like for most of the everything Xeno-sided that shoots something that can kill you is on the timer and telegraphed. So having the HEFA boiler that basically drops a grenade, HEFA grenade, and screams frag out and hits everyone only after 1 second. It should be better, but we'll see how it will end up. I'd say it's right now better, and boiler has its own merits, like covering in smoke and so on. But yeah,
I've got 5 questions in my thing right now.
All right, go ahead.
The first one is a meme question. What does the dev team think about Cheng? Yeah, we never discuss Cheng at all. We never discuss individual players. So I'm going to vote neutral.
From the game, yeah, okay.
Goon chat and colored lighting update. I'm not working on Goon chat. It's something that I would love to see. Colored lighting is something that I don't really care for myself. I do not know what Nev thinks about.
It's again, it's pretty far away from our current plans. I'd say that way. All right, next question. I don't want a CM that has 300 players on the regular without splitting into a second server, because that lag will be unbearable. But splitting into a second server might actually lead to decline in total population when both servers are splitting low pool between them and end up with unfun level of low player count, let's say. But if community actually keeps growing to the numbers when dev just can't find any optimization to alleviate lag anymore, are there plans to at least bring second server up during high pop hours? The issue with second servers is that you cannot control well when you enable it or disable it.
Staff
We-
members too.
Can I go into this a bit?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm not going to say that double the servers is double the amount of work, but if you do split them off, you need to have something unique. Like the only good reason I would think to split them up is to have one of them be more high RP and the other one be more low RP. But even that's not a good reason to split it up, in my opinion, because yeah, I don't think that it fits very well if you go for that sort of thing. And I'm not going to go into why I don't think that, but I do not think that that will go too well. Next up, you also would have to split your staff team kind of up, and the amount of extra work that you get is quite a lot. I would rather increase performance, because I do think that if we increase performance in the right way, we should be able to run 300, 400 people without any issues, if we do it the right way.
Yeah, if I can add to this, I agree with the splitting only if we have something else to offer. Let's be completely honest. If we get 600 players, we will obviously split. We don't have any other choice. If we have 600 players that want to play, either we split or we just lock down the servers like some other servers do. At the current population that we have, we are pretty stable, let's say, especially with late fix to the master controller. As for hierarchy server, you cannot have hierarchy at the populations more than 50 players. You have to have different maps for that. You have to have different command structure, different Almayer map, different everything. And basically, it's either having two code bases, because let's be honest, the low pop combat is different from high pop combat, and the balance should be also different. Or you run at the risk at alienating one of the communities, either high pop or low pop or whatever. And another issue is that, as I said from the start, is the issue with turning on the second server when high pop strikes is that the first round on that server will suck ass. It's like really, really, really terrible. You start the server because you see the main server have 250 people. What should you do? You should kick people from the first server? No, that's a bad idea. So what will happen with the second server? Second server will get 0 players or 10 players or 15 players.
I do disagree a bit with that, because during higher pop you have some observers, and if you've got 30, 40 observers and send out an announcement, you will beat the lowest low pop numbers. So it should be possible to play rounds, at least in my opinion, if it's really high.
Yeah, it's extra work. It's having something for sake of splitting the servers is, I don't know. I'll see. Maybe when we got 300 population stable through the week, even on weekdays, then we're gonna split. I don't know. That's not for us to decide.
Or we should just ask Beyond to support multi-threading. If we've got multi-threading, then yeah, lag will be gone.
Totally doable.
Imagine fucking multi-threading on Beyond. Yeah, it'll instantly resolve the issue.
Yeah, guys, like 1,000 players, no lag.
The only issue we would have is the outbound traffic on the internet provider, because that's oof.
There'd probably be quite a few more people getting having Beyond closed in their country.
Yeah, that too. The Paradise route where they have the distributed servers or something. I don't know. I don't remember how it's called, but it's a pretty interesting idea. But it only helps with the ping to the server. All right. So you have next question, Ivan?
Yeah. Any changes coming to the corporate liaison? Well, the researcher can, at the very least, do something actively without admin intervention. The CL doesn't really have much to do on his own. I would love to see changes to it, but there's a lot of discussion about what the role should be and what it shouldn't be. And until we can agree on what it should be, that change is not really coming. And I think that even researchers need a bit more of a rework, but the CL definitely also needs more to do. But I do also think that MTs suffer the same issue.
Yeah, the CL thing is that we don't want them to be the antagonists of the server. We don't want them to have. We don't want our CL gameplay to be based on CLs being bad or being against the USCM, having their own ideas or something. So that limits the gameplay a bit for them, the ideas for gameplay. All right, let me check one more thing. All right, let's go. Is the APC gonna be a thing on a server as an alternative for the tank? I cannot say anything right now.
Sargash wants to say something.
Yeah, it's about the CLs. I'm sure some of you have seen some of the changes to senior mods. Good CLs that make decent faxes or decent role, there's going to be an increased opportunity for things to happen for them. Don't expect ERTs or anything, but like objectives and goals and small things that they can do in round for little things for the Marines will be happening more often. If you're good.
All right, Ivan.
Is the fact, sorry.
The question you had.
Yeah, would you consider adjusting the evolution line up to the Praetorian cost, either making it so that it's an evolution of Spitter rather than Warrior, or making it so either could become it?
Ooh, I can actually field this question because I'm doing a Praetorian rubric right now. I don't want to say too much because obviously I would be teasing my own feature, but I'm going to be significantly changing Praetorian because right now it's extremely meh and not really and doesn't really do anything exceptional. So I actually have the FDS done. I'm gonna post it for the devs here. I have the FDS done, so I'll post it today. I won't be changing the parts of Praetorian that are fun, but I'm going to be transitioning it more to something that relies on melee versus spit spam, which I think is fucking boring and bad.
All right, next question.
Okay. Also, when will the godforsaken squad HUD coloration be fixed soon?
Soon. It's just soon.
Yeah, just soon.
All right. When will Elder Sentinels be reverted to no longer being runners on crack? They're actually slower than runners, but still, yeah, it's the issue with the fixed master controller that made most of the stuff a bit faster. That takes less than a tick, and running for Sentinels is pretty fast right now. Yeah, I'm unsure that this is true, that he's saying. But from the stats point of view, the Sentinel is slower than a runner. But if fuckery persists, we can fix it. Next question.
Are there any thoughts about countering the early pull-out strategy? Right now, Xenos receive Queen Mother pressure to attack, even if it's essentially suicide. I think that this would be more of a staff question, because in general, it's not up to the devs to enforce how people should enforce this kind of thing, in my opinion. What do you think?
I'd say you have to obey the Queen, and if Queen is doing some suicidal orders, then it's the stuff issue.
I don't think it's about suicidal. I think it's about staff telling them. What do you think, Sargesh? Because you asked if you can say something.
So basically, staff can see the exact numbers of Marines and Xenos. We can see all of your ages, how you've been doing throughout the round, the current situation of Marines, like are 80% of them fucking incapacitated? We will tell Marines to attack or give them incentives to attack if the ball is in their court. Most of the time, it's a 1-2 odds, and Xenos can win in a 1-2 odd, especially late game, especially if half the Marines are half dead. We're not going to tell you to go and attack as 8 Xenos against 200 Marines. We're going to tell the Marines to attack. Most of the times, it's a Xeno advantage. You might not see that, but we can see that, and just trust us and do your best.
Oh, we're talking about this thing. Okay, so the idea of how to fix it would be to have more round rows options, which we're pondering into and collecting thoughts about either unpredictable or neutral round row options that will happen at some point during the round that will force one of the sides to attack or just lose outright, depending on how we gonna solve it. So yeah, we'll see. It's in the chopping block, and we are looking into that. All right, I don't like the Mad Hot sprite chain. Okay, we heard about this. With the new armor stuff, are you going to have different types of helmets too? Or there will be just one helmet, maybe like medic helmets with integrated medical hoods and so on, maybe different variants of helmet armors, light, medium, heavy helmet. It's really dependent on how our sprites feel, because this has to be drawn, and drawing items that are on the body is pretty difficult from what I heard. So, do you have any sprites right now? I think no.
I don't think we do.
Yeah, so Evan, Forkan, you have anything to add?
Not really.
The sprites? No, I'm not going to say anything about the sprites.
All right, next question.
I've got the last question in my inbox. Second question. I saw someone managed to find a crayon and used it to mark the dropships as CAS or transport. Was this a test for a staff officer feature or just random? I think it was just random. There are ways to get crayons inside the game, as far as I know. I think I know of a way at least. So, yeah.
Yeah, crayons are pretty strange. Oh, you spot crayon for PO. Nice job. All right. So, next question. CAS, when? Real life takes priority for now, so maybe next month. So yeah, I don't know. That's a lot of work, actually. Yeah. You can frown. Okay, and second, when can male Marines finally wear panties? Evan, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm not quite sure. Soon?
Okay.
Yeah, I saw soon in the text chat and I thought, yeah, why not answer the default dev response soon?
It's being worked on. It's being tested. All right. Do you have any questions?
No, the only thing that I've got right now is a conversation about bugs.
All right. When are Marines getting directional combat?
It wasn't on our list to give them that. The entire thing with directional combat is that it was intended to assist Xenos, and humans and predators should still use a bit more skill. So, in essence, no, it wasn't intended to give you directional combat. Not even directional point blank.
I'd say the biggest issue we encountered with directional combat is that Marines will hit each other. That was the first priority why we did not give anything to Marines related to this. Imagine you're cleaning weeds and you accidentally stab your friend, and that's a bad thing. You need to remember that the objects, well, the mobs take priority for the stabbing, and so even if you don't click on the mob, you'll still stab the player that stands on the like xenobeads or something. Right. Next question. What is the status of CLF survival? I can still spawn the event once, but I never used it again. There is a potential event for LV where you spawn a CLF crash ship guys, and I don't know, I didn't feel like I wanted to spawn it, so yeah. All right. Next question. Do you have anything on your side, Evan?
Yeah. When will the level 2 translator be fixed for predators to be able to communicate with xenomorphs via translator? I'm tired of having to speak into translator, then copy paste a me growls into my translator emote. This has been a problem for months.
I don't have whitelist for predator, so I can't fix it for now. We'll have to wait for the PHU to leave his vacation. Yeah. All right. Next question from my side. Given that both humans and xenomorphs have increased in combat strength significantly over the past year, is there any plan to buff synthetics and predators to compensate, as predators are dying more often to the improved marine weapons, and synthetics are very easy to disable by friendly fire or small amount of xeno contact? So this is being fixed right now by armor rework for humans. Basically, that's it. That's all I can say, but if anyone else has any more plans for survivability, then and also,
I don't know.
And also, in this fun, when you can die in 2 shots as Predator, you have to hone your skills, be better. What is that? You're dying in 2 shots? All right. Any other questions?
Yeah, the next one, it's in the really about development stuff, but it is addressed to the development team. There are 4 developer apps open. What is the status on them? I would say that I'm not really going to comment on them. We handle them when we handle them. Most of it is handled as a team, so it might be going slowly, but so do moderator apps. Just be patient. That's just how it works. We do some research, and it's kind of when the dev team has time.
It's like slug stun time. Sometimes you get lucky and close. Sometimes it takes time. But yeah, all right. It's not actually a pretty good question for dev team because it's like you can ask it for Dean or someone. All right.
Well, the second question is, why do I never see Dean? He's more behind the scenes. He organizes like the meetings, and we report to him, and that kind of.
I think it's not important for him to be right now on the server, on the public, but he does a lot of work in the development Slack.
And developers also stealth mode sometimes when on the server. Some of those just the admin, other stealth mode. So you won't always see us online.
That's true. All right. Next question. The current server has 3 times the number of people when I first started. I'm actually really confident in the dev team to manage it. That's not a question. All right. Thanks for the confidence. All right. Evan, you have something?
There's only one question that I've left. How many have got you left? You have
5.
Then let's go towards yours because mine is, can we have an event round? And my answer is no.
All right. What does the future of CM look like? Will it remain on Beyond? Are there any big goals for it? Yeah, so I don't know. I am very big. I have thoughts on leaving Beyond at some point, but that's just me, and I'm being told I'm crazy by other members of the team. So,
Well, you are crazy. Do you really need me to tell you that?
no. But Adam's Nightmare Creator can parse some of the Beyond stuff and work with it. Alrighty, next question. I saw something like that work where helps work cross-server. So I think this is in relation to server splitting. Yeah, and actually we have the, like, some servers have IRC A helps, where if the a help is not handled, it will be shown and notified to other stuff, which is interesting. But still, you need someone on the second server to maintain. Knowing about an issue doesn't mean you can fix the issue. You need to have people there. You cannot run stuff from outside of the game as of right now. You want to add something on that, Ivan?
I think that you summed it up pretty well.
All right, next question. For CL, have you ever considered having admin moderator issue DEFCON points which are awarded to the DEFCON system based on CL faxes back to the high command, informing them of the threat? That's a good idea, but it can be prone to abuse and to maybe staff reports, because you can write a very good CL fax and maybe a staff member doesn't like it, then you'll get angry. Or you wrote a really shitty fax and moderator tells you it's shitty and it won't award you DEFCON points, and then you staff report them for not giving you that one DEFCON point that might have turned the tide of the combat. So I'd say no on that, but maybe something that works automatically based on something. I don't know. What you think?
I feel, yeah, no. I've got new questions, but that's.
Yeah, go ahead.
So as of recent, command staff have been using imaging sharing software to show their views of the tactical maps along with a visual display of how they want their orders completed. Is there something that's going to be implemented to assist with that? Short answer, no. As far as I know, we haven't talked about that yet. It's okay to use image sharing software in command announcements, and that's about where the line is. It's your choice to do it or to not do it.
We talked about it like when I just started working as a developer, and it's still not a priority for us because, as you said, people can use the image sharing softwares or sites for that. And anything we implement in game will be just this, but worse. Because it's basically implementing paint in the freaking tree maker, which is my head is hurting just from this thought. Okay, will we get any actual space battles gameplay-wise for human versus human instead of just admin text adventure? Anyone?
Sorry?
Will
Can you
we
repeat?
will we get any actual space battles gameplay-wise for human versus human, or just or it will stay as admin text adventure?
I would love to see that. I even have old code related to it. I even know that there's other people who've written stuff for it. I would love to see it, but it's something that would need quite a bit of time to be implemented nicely.
I agree. All right. You have any more questions?
Yeah. I just got in. Are there any plans to let Xenos use macro? Well, in general, no, because we disabled .click macros for a reason, and the only macros that you can use, I have to use that. So unless it's like macros for emotes, then no. You can use macros for emotes and a macro to have your hive mind macroed, but that's about it.
We'll see. It's
Toggle darkness.
No, not agreed yet on the macros, but we will see. All right. GitLab question: how does someone approach reviving an issue that was buried deep among all of the others? Personally, I had one that I put a lot of time and effort into it, but it got buried quickly as all the strange suggestions, I guess, appeared. So I like to know how to approach to revive it properly. It depends on if you got any response from a staff member or it just got closed automatically, which most of I think every suggestion right now has a timer of 2 months. I'd say I'd say that you definitely shouldn't spam this idea. You should wait the first 2 months until you get a response, because we had some alarms when the issue is close to be auto declined. That's all I can say for now. It sucks, I know, but we have a lot of suggestions and we need to process them and we need to look into them. And some people like me are not going through suggestions because I am personally very busy and I have my own plan for a few months already right ahead of me. But I know that other developers take those suggestions into action. So keep trying. That's all I can say. Maybe Evan can have something to add. No, you shouldn't DM developers. It's a bad idea.
I think it depends a bit on the developer, how open they are for it, and how well you know them. I DM with some people, but I can be very direct on stuff. That's just me. I do have a next question.
Sure.
This is also, I wouldn't consider it a development question. What happened to the old developers? Almost all of these developers in the Steam right now joined less than 8 months ago. Yes, that is true. And what happened to them varies from developer to developer. Some of them left, others were kicked out ish, and others just went on extended leave. And that's just what happened. Everyone has a life. People lose interest sometimes. And I think some of them went to work and they created their own company, even. So that's kind of what happened.
Some developers leave because they work with previous developers, and it's basically like if you played Dwarf Fortress, is the mood spiral, but not a mood spiral, but just leave the play spiral because you have your friends here and your friends leave, so you have some obligation to the server or community, which basically what's that? And you have your friends that code with you, understand how you feel and so on, and they suddenly decide they're done. And your options are keep doing it for some reason or leave with them. And most people choose to leave. That's how it works. But right now, it's pretty good stuff wise. We have fixed team. I think there is not much of an developer leaving stuff right now. Am I right?
As far as I know, it's the same.
Yeah.
What is the ideal development team size? I think that we have gone into this in the past. We want to grow a bit. We want to have a few dedicated teams within the development team, and we might be approaching actually numbers where we should be looking into it.
Yeah, numbers.
Well, we've got 22 developers right now. I just got told in this message that might be true.
Yeah, it's fine. We still sometimes want more because, well, it's funnier that way. All right. Can we please revert the annoying you can use a weapon on help intent? I don't know about this, actually. Yeah. That, yeah, it's probably made into preference. Not working on this at the moment. All right, next question. Will fellow PC users like me ever regain ability to point at objects?
Shift middle mouse button.
Yeah. Or right click point at. All right. So that's all questions I had. Ava?
For me as well. So I'm going to do a final call to give questions. And I'm going to say that between now and 20 minutes in the future, we're actually going to end this meeting because we already kind of unofficially started a little bit sooner with open discussion.
Yeah, that's true.
I do have a question here.
Okay, go ahead.
Why are there no Easter eggs in the game? There are Easter eggs in the game. You just haven't found them yet.
Yeah, that's true. All right. Continuation of that. It's laptop user and inability to. They don't have middle mouse on the laptop. I think most of the laptops have a combination that is middle click, like double two-finger tap or two-finger double tap, something like that. But also you can right-click on the object and then point at in the drop-down list. I cannot help you. It's not in my world of stuff. You can maybe, I don't know. I don't think there is a macro point out. Yeah, we removed the macro point out because it allowed you to spot the predators. The yeah, empty one-on-one rooms in the cables is a bug. Can we have some Xeno actions like resin structures to have macros, so I don't click change resin structure 4 times to get a wall, or remove the cooldown on some of those things? No, I don't have answer for that one. All right, any more questions?
Well, I don't know how freely I can answer this one. It asks, is it true that developers can spawn in during the round as an animal? I don't know.
It depends on for what reason the staff member is doing this. Is
I'm
it
not.
for...
I don't think that this is revealing anything secret. In general, admins and full-on developers do have the right to join the round under certain circumstances. Like, if I want to and I do not abuse it, if I die in the round, I do have permission to spawn in as a random marine, for example, as long as I do not abuse that. And that trust goes a bit, but it doesn't go very far. Like, you can do it once in a round.
Yeah, it's in general, you cannot spawn yourself as the one you died as. That's how it goes. So if
Yeah,
you die
if you die in the round and you observe for a bit and you want to play again, yes, I as development per, just like all admins do have permission to become a random marine. I do not have permission to make myself into an event or that kind of stuff.
Yeah. As for monkeys, I mean, again, it depends on what you do. Is that, do you just walk around the map? Yeah, well, okay, whatever. Suit yourself. But if you're going around and doing some mischief, like stealing stuff and, I don't know, shooting at Marines as monkey somehow, and it's not a proper setup event by someone else than you, it is a no-no.
Developers are granted a wide breadth of server permissions. Many are normally reserved for admins, or in the case of the debug tab, managers and heads. In general, they will not use it to affect the outcome of a round unless they have permission. Otherwise, they are free to use them. Yeah, like to become a marine again.
Yeah, but again, it's no one in the dev staff wants to abuse this because it's a very quick way to get fucked up from the staff team. Like, I don't know, ask. Okay, won't name names. All right. Anything else?
Those are all the questions I have. Do you have any questions?
Yeah. Since you stated that you want the dev team to grow, what are minimum requirements in experience with Beyond Code to have one dev application?
I think that's a hard thing to put down. In general, we look at it's a combination of things. If you're well known of within the community, for example, if you're a longer time, that stuff also helps because it shows to us that you know the game a bit more. I think that there is no specific that I can give and how good you have to be with coding. You do have to pass the coder test.
Educating people and fixing bugs for them is pain. So it's being considered. How much time we need to spend on you getting used to the code, and how much profit we'll gain from you being one of the developers in our team.
If you say that you want to make 15 new features and you've never coded anything in Beyond so far, that shows to me that you're both not really ready for the position, because if you develop with other languages, you're also going to be able to get into Beyond. So in general, it's a total picture. And if you know your basics, you can get into DM pretty quickly in my.
So from my experience, I coded for DM really for, I don't know, 2 weeks before I joined CM, and that happened a long time ago. But I had a lot of experience with other languages like C#, and when the coding tests came, I learned the language, I took my time to answer the questions, and I got accepted. And yeah, so if you have good experience with other languages, you'll find that DM is pretty easy to understand. It's hard to make work fast and make do what you want, especially if you have high like high coding standards, because DM and coding standards are oof. But yeah, if you coded for some other language before, especially game dev, you'll feel at home.